population have responded like no other country in the world. And I think that is a great indication of the friendship that you have for us. And we know that friendship doesn't come without cause. We know recently 3 Georgians lost their lives in the mission helping us in Afghanistan. And we're grateful for your help with us, and we mourn the loss of your soldiers. But coming here today, Mr. President, we appreciate your friendship. We appreciate the great Georgian traditions you bring. The supra, we love that. Big table food. In our office, I don't know how often you drink cha-cha, but in our office, birthday, we celebrate birthdays in our office doing shots of cha-cha. A lot of fun. We actually can't find a place to buy it in the United States, so we're working on that. I got to make a trip to Georgia soon so I can get more cha-cha. But it's great to have you in the States. And as the representative here at your welcome from our caucus, welcome and look forward to your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you again. I mean, I'm very honored to have you here, and I understand it's really these days are hot in Congress for a number of other reasons. In the House, there are lots of things going on. So I appreciate a bunch of you showing up for this event. I had like 2 trips recently to the U.S. First when I had to see Vice President Biden, Secretary Kerry, see briefly President Obama at Bush Library inauguration, and see a number of U.S. presidents coming together. And then me going to Dallas, and that was an amazing thing for me to see all these living U.S. presidents coming together, celebrating what is the greatest democracy in the world history, the greatest state in the world history. And of course, for all these years, for us, America was an idea, more of an idea than real country. I mean, it is of course a real country with little problems, but we don't want to say, well, this idea to be lost behind these problems. Georgia has managed to do amazing stuff as the U.S. ally, as a country based on the same ideas of freedom and democracy. We had the lowest corruption rate in Europe, the safest country in terms of crime rate in Europe, number 9 in the world, best business destination in terms of ease of doing business and investment climate in the world, out of 190 whatever countries. We basically quadrupled our economy for the last 8 years, and we had diminished poverty by 2.5 times. So there are quite some things to be proud of. And we also managed to create free and democratic model of government, which resulted in the change of government last October, which also indicates very strong, first ever peaceful transition in our part of the world, which went very smooth. And I presided as president over this transition of government, and I'm very proud of the fact that we managed to do it. Of course, we have ups and downs, and of course, we have, there are lots of things to be preoccupied about present state in Georgia. But I think in long run, we will succeed as democracy because we create this model of continuous development. And this is very much thanks to what you managed to do together with us. That's why for all these years we've been receiving tremendous support from Congress and from lawmakers here. We've been one of the largest per capita recipients of U.S. assistance. We had the Millennium Challenge account where we're the only country where it was renewed second time because it was so successful first time. Right now, I think the biggest help where we need assistance as help from you, the Americans, is basically looking at freedom and democracy in Georgia. And if Georgia can continue and persevere as a free and democratic country, all the other issues will be solved because we are, in a way, kind of unique thing of that sort in our part of the world where Americans are regarded as the face of American presence there. Let's put it this way. You are right, we had suicide bombing yesterday in our base in Afghanistan in Helmand, and unfortunately 3 Georgian soldiers were killed and servicemen were killed, and 25 plus were wounded. But we still didn't hesitate a lot, and we've incurred considerable casualties in the past. I firmly believe in that mission. I believe in that mission because failure of America in our part of the world would be a disaster, primarily for us. We are a European country, but we are close to the Middle East, and we understand what's at stake here, more than maybe many other Muslim countries. That's why, of course, that mission will not be popular in any country, but there is no active, proactive kind of criticism of that mission because people do understand what's at stake for all of us. And I think, and finally, I would just say that for all, I'm finishing my term in November, but I am a firm believer in American exceptionalism. I believe that this country has this role to play worldwide, and it also needs good allies worldwide that should be successful, free, and helpful to American causes, as well as, you know, we don't need America to engage us, I would like to have a military engagement with Georgia or the direct one, or we don't need America to have the more like large-scale economic assistance delivered to Georgia. What we need is moral support. What we need is your soft power, which really matters. Because after all, American power is 19% soft power, 90% perception of power rather than sheer military or economic force. Obviously, we are also talking with the administration of free trade agreement. We are, to which President Obama committed himself last year to have the high-level dialogue on free trade with Georgia. We would be the first European country to do it, to make it. They are also working on military assistance and equipping the Georgian army. We appreciate American support for NATO accession, and that's where we need to continue with that. Even more than that, of course, these are all indispensable things. We need you to be there and to, you might downsize on your budget enrollment worldwide, but you cannot cut down on your commitment to freedom and democracy, because that's what the American idea is all about. And that's what this place is all about. I think every time I walk through these corridors, and I started to walk here in the 90s, in mid-90s, when I was a student at Columbia and at George Washington University, I always admired the place, because of this spirit which is still there, which was there then, and which is here now. I remember first time when I came here, there were a bunch of people whom I met for the first time, like Joe Biden and Joe McCain, but there were like Jesse Helms walking around, and a number of others who are no longer here, but the spirit is here. People do change. An amazing new generation of congressmen, and of course I'm no longer here. My son is here, who is just going to college in the U.S. this year, but spirit is still here, even the generation to change. So again, thank you very much for being here, and let's move back to Chacha, because that's whatever I have to say.